Well, I'm excited to be here today. It's talking on my profile. Hopefully, there's lots of you going to see this through the day. We're going to be sharing it out there because I'm so excited. I have got the lovely Payman with me here today, who I had the wonderful opportunity to meet a few weeks ago. And the moment we met and started talking, we realized that we have a passion, and that passion is to really get people out there who are heart leaders, not head leaders, people who share their compassion, who are willing to be subjective, not always simply objective, who are willing to connect with their clients and their audience in a deeper way, in a way that will help them really move forward in their lives. And Payman, I'm going to ask you, Payman, what is it that first took you into this whole journey of heart leadership?
First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for inviting me, Angela. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Everyone in the world, pleased to meet you. Well, ever since I was a kid, I always loved three things more than anything, which is helping people, inspiring people, empowering people, and fourth one, connecting people. So for me, I was the guy that didn't think twice about sharing my toys with the kid next to me or my snack, whatever. I didn't think twice of anything about it. I've always been like that. Always loved helping others, especially those that have nothing or very little. And that's how I grew up. I grew up in a family where, I saw my parents, God bless their soul, they always not only taught us always to be helpful to help others, but also I saw it and their lives and their work and what they were doing, how they were with other people, always about helping, inspiring, empowering, connecting. And that really rubbed off on me and on all of my siblings. And this is how I've always been heart-centered, always been about helping and being a cheerleader. I'm the biggest cheerleader you will find to push you, to motivate you, to hold your hand, so to speak, even at times when needed to give you a much-needed kick in the butt, so to speak, to get you going. I'm that person. I've always been that person. So
nowadays, I mean, being that person and wanting to have a wider reach and wanting to be able to, work with people, not just in your town or in your street, but, there's so many other people out there that can benefit. I know you found a brilliant way to start talking to other people in the world. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, so I stumbled upon it accidentally. I was never thought of using that as a way to build a business or make money. And I'm talking about podcasting. Ever since podcasting was first introduced back in 2006, 2007, 5, around that time. I was one of the first people to actually consume them because I loved learning, especially on business, on travel, on being able to run businesses from around the world, on running a business on a laptop. That was cocaine for me. I was hooked on that. I wanted to consume as much as I could. And the only way back then to find that kind of information was on podcasts. So I've been consuming podcasts for as long as I can remember. And then, before the pandemic, I was living in Asia. I've been an expat all my life. Been blessed to have lived in 14 countries on 4 continents. And before the pandemic, I was living in Hong Kong and China. And when I came back to Canada, at first I didn't want to come back, but I came back because I had to do. My story was completely broke. I ran out of money. I was trying to build a business in Hong Kong and China. Hong Kong didn't work out. If it wasn't for a friend of mine that I met through divine inspiration on an e-commerce event, that allowed me to crash at this place for a year for free, I would have been on the streets. I was living on imagine living in one of the most expensive cities in the world. Let's say Hong Kong. I was in Hong Kong, let's say in London or Paris or New York on $20 a week. That was me, but my credit card was canceled, my credit destroyed. But yet it was some of my happiest moments of my life. There's a massive disconnect here. Because we're taught to have money makes you happy. Yes, money makes you happy to some extent. But then I went through a whole transformation at that time. I went through my spiritual awakening. Back then I didn't realize it. I thought I was cursed. Because I was running out of money, I was going through a bad phase. I was depressed. I was even suicidal at some point in life. I didn't know it. But then when I realized, hey, why is this? I have no money, yet I'm having a blast. I was hosting events. I was meeting people. If you had met me in Hong Kong in 2019 or even in China in 2019, I was the guy with the 3-piece suit with no money in my pocket. Only 2 people knew it. My buddy Lucien that allowed me to stay at his place for over a year, and my older sister, my younger sister, my brother, my father. They did not know it. But then, so when the pandemic started, because I had no credit cards left, I tasked my sister to book me a ticket to come back home to Canada. I will never forget that day. Tuesday, February 25, 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, landing at the Toronto Pearson International Airport with only $200 to my name as a 39-year-old guy. It's not a good place to be, but I never panicked. I knew I could get out, but I had no idea how. And then I was going through my spiritual awakening. Things started to happen. I learned two things that completely changed my life, two realizations. One was understanding the tremendous power of questions and asking the right question. And the second was learning to listen to my intuition, to my gut feeling, to the voice inside of you, to your instinct, whatever you call it. So late summer 2020, completely disconnected from business, having lunch with family, an idea pops into my head. Start a podcast. What do you mean start a podcast? It keeps on coming for weeks. That was around maybe mid-July, actually about almost 4 years ago to the letter, until October of 2020. Finally, in October, I started my podcast. I started a podcast because I was bored and I had to do something productive. We live in a small town outside of Toronto, Canada. And Canada was one of the strictest countries in terms of restriction during the pandemic. After you're frozen. So I had to find something productive to do. So, and I enjoy talking. So I started a podcast. At first, I was as a complete headless chicken. I had no idea what I was doing. I was getting on calls all day long from 8 o'clock in the morning to literally 9 at night, literally passing out on my desk. But I had no idea how to make money because the traditional way to monetize a podcast, a YouTube channel, is build a massive audience and make your money through sponsorships, downloads, and ads. But that applies only to people who are already celebrities or have massive existing audiences or people who are world-class renowned experts. When I started, I had none of that. For the first year, I didn't make a single penny from my podcast because I had no idea. And then once I reached 100 episodes, that's when things started to get very interesting. People started asking me, hey, can you help me launch my podcast? At first, I was hesitant. Oh, go watch this video on YouTube or go get this. No. Show me how you did it. What do you want me to teach you? I don't know anything. I just did it. Well, show me how you did it. Remember what I said about the tremendous power of questions and asking the right questions? And this is when I started to really understand, not only understand it, but implement it. I was getting on calls with people all day, just like me and you right now. I started asking them, hey, Angela, do you have your own podcast? 99% of people would say no. When I ask them why, 3 reasons. I have no idea how to start. I'm not a techie, and I don't know where to get the right people and how to grow it. And that's when it started to click in my sometime little slow brain, and I asked them one question that completely changed my life and their lives. And that was, would you be interested if I were to show you how to not only launch a podcast, but also build your platform so you can share your story, display your expertise, and connect heart to heart with your exact ideal audience, even if you have no audience to start with and without spamming or without ad spend? I get a resounding yes. I had 6 people say yes in the first weekend. And then, long story short, over the next 10 months, I was able to get 60 clients, high-ticket clients, with a YouTube channel of less than 200 subscribers. Now I'm sitting at approaching 100 clients at 94, 95. Now my channel is a bit bigger. My channel, as of this morning, stands at 1,375 subscribers, which is still absolutely minuscule. But then I started asking, how is that possible? And then I realized that I understood one thing that also changed my life, and that was business is not a numbers game. Sure, numbers matter, but ultimately it's a relationship nurturing process. We do business with people we like, relate, and trust. If you're selling anything that's high ticket, meaning over $1,000, pounds, or euros, then it's all about one thing and one thing only. Start with a T, ends with a T, 5 letters. Can you guess what that is, Angela?
Trust.
That's it. How do you build trust? By building rapport. How do you build rapport? By speaking from the heart and having heart-to-heart conversations. As soon as I understood that, I started implementing that. And this is what allowed me to literally monetize my tiny little YouTube channel at the time from the get-go. Well, not from the get-go. It took me a year to understand that, but as soon as I understood it, within the first weekend, 6 clients. And keep in mind, I was broke as a joke, still couldn't find a job. I made $3,000 that first weekend. For someone who's broke, has no money, $3,000, it's like winning the lottery. And then that's when things started to, wow, this is for real. It's not a fluke. It's not an accident. As I get more and more into call with people, I ask the same question. More and more people start to say, oh, absolutely. Say when. Say when. Because again, I use podcasting for what podcasting is truly phenomenal. To get my foot in the door with my exact ideal audience, have heart-to-heart conversation. One thing that I don't do on the podcast, on the calls, even on the meet and greet calls, I don't sell. I don't pitch. I don't convince. I want to know who's Angela, who's Mike, who's John, who's Deborah, as a person, as a human being, as a man, as a woman, before the business person. Because if you can't connect as a human to human, we're not going to talk, let alone do business with. Once I understood that, I started implementing it, and that's what changed my life. I don't know if that answered your question because I was on a way long tangent, but I wanted to make sure you understand the full background. I mean, you know it, but I mean, your audience, I want them to know the full background.
No, I think it's exciting. I think you've done the perfect job there of explaining, where you came from, which,
Yeah.
other people may have thought, this is it. Well, I can't do anything. I just have to get some kind of dead end job. But you took what your heart was telling you and you ran with it. And there are so many people out there who've got really powerful messages to share, but their audience is small and they don't know how to grow it. They don't know how to get in front of the right clients. And you've found a perfect way to first of all build those relationships, which I love because as you said, if you're going to trust somebody, why do people think that by saying, I'll get you a 10-figure income or whatever it is, six-figure income, and just by saying that, they seem to think that people should trust them enough to hand over six figures or, a huge amount of money. And it's wrong. Why should you? Why should you do it? My view, and I'll be saying this next week on social media, is stop paying those massive high ticket figures to people who don't even know, let alone trust them. And so you are building relationships. So tell me a little bit about, how do you invite people? Who do you invite? How do you come across them to get them on your show?
Well, for me, it all starts with, let me backtrack that because I don't invite random people. I have extreme clarity as to who do I want on my podcast, who I want to work with. I know exactly who's my ideal avatar, so to speak. My avatar are coaches and authors because even though I don't like the term coach, I prefer more the term mentor. I'm a mentor as well as I'm an author. Thanks to the podcast, I've been blessed to become a 4-time #1 international bestselling author. So I understand what it takes to write not only a book, but to publish a book, but also a winning one, a successful #1 international bestselling author. So I work with coaches and authors. And then I just identify where they hang out and I simply invite them. I don't invite them to get on a discovery call because nobody wants that because they know what discovery calls means. You're going to get pitched, you're going to get sold. But what I tell them, hey, this is my speech. Hey, my name is Payman. I'm the host of the Leader podcast. I love what you're doing. Or I just read your book, your article, or just saw your video, whatever. I love what you're doing. And I would love for you to come share your story on my podcast. By using this approach, and 3.5 years, I had 2 people say no. One, because she was just about to give birth. So we had to reschedule it. The second was a gentleman from the US. He was about to move for work from the US to Germany. Again, we had to reschedule it, but they eventually came on my podcast. So the point is, when you invite, here's another powerful lesson that I learned. That applies not just to business, but to life in general. Never put yourself in a position to ask, beg, or chase. Instead, invite. Try that today with your family, with your kids, with your brother, sister, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, with anyone, your employees. Try that. Instead of asking them, invite them and see the result. They will be chasing you as opposed to you chasing them. So these are the things that really I implement. I've been implementing, and these are things that completely changed my life. Not only because of my tiny podcast, I've been able to get back on my feet financially. Now I'm in the best shape ever. But beyond the financials, yes, I'm tremendously grateful for the financial benefits. But the greatest gift podcasting blessed me with, and you know my story, is that it allowed me to kill my shyness. I used to be painfully, extraordinarily shy. I had zero self-esteem, not even zero, but negative because I have a big nose. I have no hair. I used to be fat. So it wasn't a pretty place to be. Plus, on top of that, imagine if you had on top of that, a sprinkle of depression, a little bit of, suicidal thoughts, and you have an explosive, mix here. But then I realized that it's not about me, how I look like, but it's about sharing my story. It's about sharing my wisdom, my gift, even though back then I didn't know it because I wasn't awakened yet. But then once I went to my awakening, because again, everything happens for a reason at the right time. It was my time to get my awakening during the pandemic, just like most people around the world. We've had this happen to us as a result of the pandemic, because the pandemic was, in a way, even though it was very painful, as a wake-up call for all of us as a human race to really focus on what truly matters. Life is not about getting a bigger house, bigger car, or another, raise at your work. Yes, those are important, but ultimately what really matters are, first of all, your relationships, your health, your time, and finding purpose, fulfillment in your life. This is why more and more people are switching from the corporate careers to starting their own business, because they understand that, and what's the best way to do so is and this is one thing that changed my life, that I teach in my challenge as well as in my academy, and that is identify your zone of genius. Identify what are your true gifts. Don't go after the most lucrative, profitable, the sexiest trend, the hottest trend. No. Sure, you can make money that way, but it's not feasible, it's not sustainable, and you will get burned out because your heart is not in it. But instead, identify your zone of genius, your true gift, share your story. You don't have to do any research. You just speak from the heart by sharing your story, by how you've overcome all the challenges overcome, and all the crap. Your crap literally is your gold. Because again, life is a school, and we come here, sure, to grow, become better, wiser, and all that. But from my humble understanding, that's only 5% of why we are here. The 95% is taking those gifts, those lessons, those wisdom, those experiences, and share them with others to whatever means is more comfortable and natural for you. For me, through speaking and writing my books. For someone else, might be through acting, music, painting, sports, whatever. Find your outlet and simply share your gift. And your gift don't have to completely change the world like Elon Musk or Einstein or Newton. It would be amazing if it does. But if you were your story, your gift, how you overcame whatever you overcome, allows to inspire just one person or give them hope or believe back in themselves or believe in humanity or give them an idea, then you've succeeded. That's success. That for me is the definition of success. So these are the things that I do to my podcast. Again, once again, I'm very sorry. I went into a tangent. I don't even remember what was your question again. Maybe I
So
should
we
start a
talked
podcast.
about how you
Maybe I
found,
should start.
how, actually, no, you answered it. You answered about who you talk to, and you're quite specific. You've talked about your zone of genius. And so what I want to just ask you is, and I loved what you just said, it wasn't about, what you looked like. You were actually quite shy. You didn't really feel comfortable on the camera before then. And the fantastic thing is, I know that you're running a challenge, and I've been on this challenge, by the way, if you listen, those of you listening, I've been on the challenge. It's fantastic value. I just want to say that first of all, before I ask Payman to actually explain what's going to happen there. It will really help you get clear on a few things. And the first one, it's going to give you confidence about running your own podcast, because it is not about, whether you've got a huge audience, what you look like, have you got the right color hair, what size, shape, color you are, anything like that. And it's not about how old you are. There's no age limit to doing this particular strategy. So Payman is going to run a challenge, which we're going to invite as many people as possible to, so that you can have the opportunity to discover how you can use this strategy to get yourself in front of your ideal clients, people that you really want to work with, people who you value and you want to help them share their message. You want to help them find their transformation, their awakening. So, Payman, tell us a little bit about the challenge and from your perspective, what people will receive on that challenge.
Thank you. Yes. So the challenge is going to be held on the week of the Monday 15th to Friday 19th of July at 1 p.m. UK time. It's going to be about an hour each day. I'm going to be sharing with you, not holding anything back, how I've been able to completely transform my life by implementing the strategy I'm going to be sharing with you, how you can leverage podcasting to get your exact ideal leads for your business, even if you have no audience to start with and without spamming and ad spend. So, and the greatest thing we will be doing, and this is the first thing I tell everyone, whether it's in the channel or my academy, is if all you're looking for is just to launch a podcast, you don't need me. You can just get a microphone from Amazon or your local electronics store for less than £100, dollars, or euros, and off you go. But what we do is we tackle together the number one reason most coaches, most online entrepreneurs, authors struggle to get anywhere with their business, get any lead, any traction, is because they lack clarity. They want to help everyone with all of the issues. Helping everyone with the issues, that's beautiful, that's commendable, but that's something only God can do. Me and you, Angela, and everyone who's listening, we're not God, we're a piece of God. So what we need to do is we need to focus on one very specific person with one very specific pain point. The more specific, the more laser focused, and the more magnetic and the more compelling, the more powerful your message will be. So what we will do, we will brainstorm together, identify what is your true zone of genius, what is your true gift, and then craft your offer, your messaging, build your business and your podcast around that. The podcast happens to be the vehicle of excellence because podcasting is the best way to have heart-to-heart conversations with people from all around the world. We're building your profitable podcast based around your zone of genius. So again, I do what we do even in the challenge, in the free challenge, and it's free, yes. We identify again, what is your true zone of genius? What is your true gift? And once you identify that, then it does an even deeper job. It allows you to really see, learn to understand yourself better and understand, even find what is your purpose? What is your mission? What is your reason of being here? Because a lot of people still to this day, regardless of age, they feel lost. They don't know why they're here. I was like that. Why I'm here for? I'm here just to keep living, pay bills, and that's it. No, that's not what life is about. And again, what the work we do is much, 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 much deeper than just launching a pure lousy podcast. The podcast, again, is just the platform. But what we do deep work to really identify what is your true zone of genius, what is your gift, so we can find that gift, craft your message, your offer, your business, your podcast around that, so you can speak from the heart. And when we speak from the heart, that's when the magic happens. That's when people can really open up to you, build rapport, and build trust. And once you build trust, there's no need for you to pitch, to sell, to convince, or like to send a funny and cheesy way. There's no need to seduce or kidnap someone to do business. It's a natural, automatic, organic progression. So we're going to be spending 5 days going through showing exactly how to do that. how to identify. We're going to spend 3 entire days brainstorming on identifying your zone of genius, your true gift. And then we're going to take that and craft your Godfather irresistible offer around that. So we're going to do a very deep work around, again, extracting the real reason why you're here, what are your true gifts, and then building your business around that. That's what we do. Podcasting will be the platform of excellence of choice to do that, because podcasting is what's going to allow you to get your foot in the door with exact ideal audience, your exact ideal clients, your dream clients, and then simply have heart-to-heart conversation. Because again, business is a relationship nurturing process. It's not a numbers game. Sure, numbers matter, but anytime you're dealing with anything over high ticket, it's about trust, nothing else. Trust. And how do you build trust? Again, by building rapport. How do you build rapport? By having heart-to-heart conversation. And that's what we're going to do. It's going to be very fun. First of all, it's going to be highly interactive and truly transformational, because if you implement what I'm going to be teaching, even in the free challenge, and I've had people in the past told me that the information contained in the free challenge, I can easily sell that for $1,000, because I've had people that implemented just the information on the free challenge, and they've been able to completely resuscitate their business. The business was dead. They weren't getting any leads, let alone clients. And they were able, by just implementing what I taught, to get 10 to 20 meaningful conversations with exact ideal prospects. And they were the ones being chased, as opposed to them chasing people. So again, this is truly transformational. It's going to really open up your eyes, because a lot of people do not understand or realize how transformational podcasting can be when done the right way, because they feel podcasting is about listening to, I don't know, some guy or some girl talking about makeup, or about gossiping or politics or sport. Yes, it can be that, but it can also be something much bigger, much deeper, to connect your door, to connect yourself to the person. Podcasting has become the new golf. Before, hey, let's go play a round of golf, or let's hang out at the country club. Now it's, hey, let's come and have a chat on my podcast. I can't tell you how many multi-million billion-dollar businesses started as a result of two people just connecting on a podcast. From my own personal experience, nowadays, I only do business with people I met on my podcast. My publisher, she was a guest on my podcast 3 years ago. She became my publisher. She's also one of the first alumni of my very first class of my academy from December of 2021. My copywriter, everybody nowadays, I only do business with people I met through my podcast. Why? Because I have this connection, this trust with them. And you can do the same thing for you, because the world is full of sharks. How do you vet someone? By having a heart-to-heart conversation. That's another way that you can use your podcast for your business in multiple ways. You can use it. For me, I've used it as my own education. It's almost as if I was having my own MBA from Harvard, because I'm having conversation all day long with actual world-class experts in all kinds of fields on topics I thought I knew, and sometimes, a lot of times rather, on topics I didn't even know existed. Not only that, but also lead generation, but also lead education. Because again, you want to establish yourself as an authority, as a leader, as an expert in your field. How do you do that? By having your podcast, by sharing your story, and when you share your story, you display your expertise. So podcasting can be incredibly, incredibly powerful for business. Way too much for me if I were to mention them here, this call would turn into a 3-hour lecture. I'm going to save this for the challenge. Over a week, you're not going to have a 3-hour call. Don't worry. It's going to be spread over a week. So I invite you all. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive, and it's going to be transformational, and it's going to be free. So I'm really looking forward to having as many of you guys coming in, because my goal is to help as many people. My motto is to help good people with beautiful hearts to win. The first question I ask with any people I talk to is, how can I make you shine brighter than you're currently shining? How can I help you win? Because when you win, when you shine brighter than you're currently shining, for example, Angela, guess what? I win. It's not about just me. It's about you. Help other people first get what they want, then you get what you want. And podcasting has blessed me, has allowed me to do so. And now my mission, my purpose is to enlighten, to help, to mentor, and to guide other powerful entrepreneurs, leaders with a heart to find their true gifts and share them loud. First of all, to embrace it loud and proud, and then share it loud, even louder and prouder. That's in a nutshell who I am. I'm going to shut up now because I talk too much, and I need a sip of my carrot juice.
So obviously, if you're listening, when you're listening to this, you'll see that Payman's got a massive amount of excitement and information and, useful content that's really going to help you grow your business through podcast. And the other thing I just wanted to sort of underline, if you like, I've been on challenges before where the person who's leading the challenge does all the talking, and you're just in a Facebook group, and they're saying, well, just put hearts, and then add your homework in later. This is not that kind of challenge. So I went on the challenge a couple of weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago. Actually went on it in the middle of the night because at that time Payman wasn't doing it in the UK time, and he's just coming specially to do one for us in the UK. But it was exciting. It was worth staying up for because all of us were involved. We were all taking action at that time and involved with each other. And something else that came out of it, which was a benefit that I hadn't looked for, was the connections we were making with each other. So you come on this challenge, and it's not just about learning how to do your podcast, but it's also about meeting truly inspirational people, all of whom have got a message to share. And so you may well meet people there who already are going to help your business grow. Like Payman just said, you're going to meet somebody that you want to do something with, you want to go forward with. I mean, I booked about 4 people who were on that challenge to come on my podcast just because we resonated so well together and they had a message that I wanted to share. So I would highly, highly recommend it. Now, Payman's mentioned it 5 days. Of course, it's 1 o'clock lunchtime. We're doing it at lunchtime in the UK. So it's not going to last from 1 o'clock in the afternoon right the way through till 1 o'clock in the morning. It is sort of 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. It's like your lunchtime stopping place. So anything they need to know. Actually, one
Yes.
question, Payman, was.
Oh, yes, a question, if I may. I just would like to add 2 things to what you said. First of all, it's not going to be just me talking, because I'm sure after a day or so, you're going to get tired of me, because I'm going to be bringing experts on other key areas of business to really even help you even further, because I want to provide you the most amazing amount of value as I can, as my token, as my way of gratitude for your trust and for your time, because trust and time are the most valuable currencies that we have. And number 2 is that it's not unlike other challenges. This is not a pitch fest. I'm not going to, yes, I will make an offer at the end. I will invite you, not a pitch, but unlike other challenges, it's not going to be each day me just trying to, okay, book a call, here's the link, go, sign. No, that's not it. And even the guest I bring in, I tell them, hey, come speak on your zone of genius. It's not a pitch fest. Yes, you can leave your contact information, but because the more value you provide, the more likelihood the people will be to reach out to you. If all you do is just to sell, nobody's going to message you. So I just want to reassure all of you guys, it's not a pitch fest, not from me or from others. I want to provide as much value as I can, and my guests will do the same thing. I just wanted to mention those 2. And the link, podcastleadschallenge.com/UK. Put the /UK. If you don't put it, you will get the website for the US, and you'll see the time at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 1 o'clock in the morning for you guys, which is not really convenient. So I just wanted to add those 2 things. Sorry to interrupt you. Back to you.
No, that's good. It's good to it's good to mention those 2 things, and we'll put the link below the show, by the way, so that you can, click on it there, and I'll be sharing it in other places too. So no, and I just want to endorse that again. As I said, I've been on the challenge, and yes, there are other people you'll hear, people who are sharing other aspects of the business world, just so that you can literally. I mean, obviously, my business course succeeds from the start, and that's because I believe it's day one. Day one is the success that you've actually stepped into the fact that you're going to develop the business. That in itself is a success. So we're starting from the word go. We're starting from a positive place. And so I definitely endorse that from Payman. He's going to be bringing other people to you that will help and support you every step of the way. But something that just occurred to me, and I know we've talked about this before, there's a lot of podcasts out there. And I was really quite discovered for myself the difference, because some people might think, well, there's a lot of podcasts, maybe I'm just going to be like a small fish in a big sea and nobody's really going to notice me. But the truth is, and this is true for me, and I just want to get you to what your thoughts are, Payman. But for me, for example, ever since lockdown, I used to be an avid radio listener. I would always know the news. I'd always be looking for it. And something shifted during that time, which said to me, all I'm doing is looking downwards, looking at pain, looking at problems, looking at struggles. And that just was not where I wanted to be anymore. I wanted to be with positive people. I wanted to be learning and growing and developing and sharing and listening to people's hearts. And I believe that there's plenty of room for a lot more podcasts. Is that right, Payman?
Oh, absolutely. On one hand, yes, podcasting is becoming more and more competitive, more and more people are getting into it. But then again, I saw some data from the US Census of whatever that said that between 2023 and each year, podcasting is going to double. So the number of podcasts in the US alone is going to double each year. And you can very easily, extrapolate the same data into all the other, Western countries as well. Because again, one of the best decisions I made over the last few years is I completely stopped watching the news. because there's nothing good in the news. It's always murder, rape, crime, anything to bring you down, to make your blood boil on things you have no control. Instead, I learned to focus, just like we love eating healthy, delicious foods for our body, so does our mind. You want to feed your mind with what inspires you or something you're interested to learn. And that's what podcasting is about. Podcasting is a new radio. Podcasting is completely killing radio, just like YouTube has done to TV. Because again, you have full control of what you want to consume. Yes, more and more people getting into it. But again, there's only one Angela, one Payman, one Mark, one Joe, one Mary. You have a unique story. Your story matters. You matter. Your voice matters. You don't need the entire planet to listen to you. The people that can relate with you, they can identify with you, they can resonate with you, they can see themselves in you, they will find you. So do not let that stop you, because the number one reason that's been holding people from starting their podcast, that was also what's holding me back, is who am I? I'm a nobody. Who's going to listen to me? My story doesn't matter. I'm not an expert. I don't have a PhD. I'm not the best looker, whatever. And I've had all those excuses mentioned by people that took my part of my academy. Again, please, and I'm begging you, don't let that stop you. The fact that you've made it this far in life and that you overcame all kinds of challenges, this is a miracle. This is a story worth sharing. You know, we all go through a fair share of pain, heartbreaks, struggles, trauma, disease, tragedy. Sure, they hurt a lot when you go to them, but then they become your story. Then your story becomes your gifts. Then your gifts become your duty and responsibility. And my humble understanding is one of the main reasons we are here on this planet and this time, or any time for that matter, is to take your gifts, first of all, embrace them, identify them, embrace them, and then share them loud and proud around you and around the world. Your message doesn't have to, inspire the whole world. That would be beautiful. But as long as your message can inspire just one person, one soul, give them hope, give them belief in themselves, belief in humanity, give them an idea. Hey, even give them a smile. Make them feel better about themselves. That's all that matters. That's success. So again, please, begging you guys, whether you join the challenge or not, whether you do join the academy with me or not, share your story. Your story matters. Your voice matters. You matter. So that's my ultimate message to everyone listening, because a lot of people have been, they feel, and life has beaten them to death. They feel that they don't matter. Everything they're trying doesn't work. I've been through that. At one time when I ran out of money, whatever I was trying, it wasn't working. Even though I knew what to do, but nothing was working. I was in a downward spiral. Nothing was working. Hence, when I was depressed, why I was almost suicidal at one point. But again, it's never too late. Start where you are. Be authentic. Don't try to be perfect. The more unperfect you are, the more relatable you will be. So so go share your gifts, because ultimately, again, that's one of the main reasons we are in this planet. Share, become better, wiser, which you've all done so far in life, and then share those gifts.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm going to endorse that, because my own business started to flourish when I connected with the true pain that I'd gone through, what I'd learned, the way that I'd felt like I'd destroyed everything and, built up debt, paying for the wrong things. And then it suddenly occurred to me that if I went out there and talked about it, well, I started to do that. And how many people had gone through the same thing? They wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have met them if I hadn't have been upfront and vulnerable about the place that I'd done myself, which is exactly what you're saying, taking hold of that learning, changing it into the purpose for which you're here. I know people, so many of you that are listening here, who've got magical stories to share, transformations in your life that they need to be shared. They need to be out there. There are other people who are waiting to hear them. And at the moment, they don't know who you are. They haven't even met you yet.
Angela, I've had countless people on my podcast who are now cancer survivors. And they said things that I couldn't believe. They said, wow, cancer was the greatest thing that happened to me. I said, what? I said, yes, it was my wake-up call. I had another gentleman that lost everything, went to jail. I said, going to jail for 7 years was the greatest gift in his life, because it helped him kill the person he thought he was, to be born to the mission that he was meant to achieve in this lifetime. So again, nothing happens to you, but for you. If you're going through some rough patches, not because you've been a naughty boy or girl, and you have karmic debt from a past life, sure, that might be true to some extent, but it's ultimately because you need to go through that. Life is a school. We go to the difference between school and life. And school, they teach you first, then you learn a lesson. And life is the other way around. Wait, did I say that the correct way? No, and in life, you go to the pain, and then you learn the lesson. And school, they teach you, then you implement it. So whatever pain you're going through, you went through, again, your crap is your gold, literally. The more painful, the more horrible it was, the more magical and powerful the message is, the gift is. I mean, if someone was able
Absolutely.
to see cancer for a gift, that's ultimate.
Yeah. Spot on. Spot on. You know,
I'm getting goosebumps
anything
right
like
now.
you said. Yeah. Anything that you've been through. I mean, always, how imagine, like, I look back on life, and at the time, you might be going through a difficult time, and you're thinking, oh, how do I get through this? I don't know. You maybe feel lost, you maybe feel hurt, or whatever it is. But I can tell you how many times have I looked back and realized the purpose and seen the plan and seen the good that's come out of it. But we have to allow that good to happen. All things work together for good, but those that trust God and walk forward. So let to embrace those things that have happened. Come on the challenge. You'll see the link
Yeah.
below. Discover your zone of genius, like Payman says. What is it about your life, the things that you've done, the things that you've been through? What is it that actually makes you the person that you are today with the message that you've got to share? Hone it, craft it. You'll get loads and loads of help and support during that challenge so that you can go out there and start making a difference in the world that that you were called to. Even if you're
Absolutely.
listening now, you're listening because you were called to do something bigger than what you're doing right now.
And
So
Angela,
we want to help you do that.
if I may, I would just end with 2 tips, and those tips completely changed my life. I mentioned them earlier. Number one is understanding the tremendous power of asking the right question. Before that, when something bad happened to me, I used to ask the wrong question. These empowering questions such as, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why is life so unfair? Where is God? And whine like the little bee. And when you whine like the little bee, nothing good comes out of it. And I learned to ask better questions, more empowering questions, such as, doesn't matter what it is I'm going through. What is this trying to teach me? What is a lesson for me to learn? Remember what I said earlier? Completely broke, yet very happy. Not very happy, but being happy. Then I realized I don't need money to be happy. True happiness comes from within. That's the first thing. Ask powerful questions. These 2 questions changed my life. What is this trying to teach me? And what is a lesson for me to learn to that? The second tip is learn to listen to that voice, to your gut feeling, to your instincts, to your intuition, because that's your soul talking to you. And your soul has 2 purposes: keep you safe, protect you, keep you alive. And number 2, guide you to the next phase of your journey. You mentioned, how do I overcome this? Sure, there's a place to seek professional advice. Yes, absolutely. But the ultimate wisdom comes from you connecting with your soul, with your higher self, or whatever you want to call it, whether it's through meditation, to whatever. And those hunches, those gut feelings, that voice can come in the most unexpected moment. You're taking a shower, you're cooking, you're doing the dishes in a meeting, you're driving, you're sleeping. Whenever that happens, I am begging you, stop what you're doing, as long as it's safe. Don't stop in the middle of the highway, stop and pay attention to that, because that's your soul. That's a connection. That's the universe telling you, hey, this is your time. Do this. I want you to succeed. The universe wants us to succeed, wants us to become our best version. The universe doesn't want to punish us. So when you get that call, that proverbial call from the universe, someone tapping you on the shoulder, so to speak, the universe, for your destiny, answer that call. Listen to it. Because me understanding those 2 things, these are the 2 things that completely changed my life. And these two topics, sorry, not topic, these 2 things are going to be precisely the topic of my TEDx talk and 10 days from now. So again, these are my 2 advices, if I may, to people. Ask better questions. What is it trying to teach me? What is a lesson for me to learn that? And listen to that voice, your hunches, your gut feelings, your instinct, your intuition, because that's your soul talking to you, regardless of what you do in life. So with this, I salute you. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, your gifts. Remember, you're a gift. You matter. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Now embrace it loud and proud, and share it even louder, even prouder. And come join come join the challenge on July 15th.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for coming along. We've spoken longer than we said, but that's, you're going to have loads just by listening here. So
Beautiful
that just gives you a
conversation.
taste of the value. Yeah, the value that you're
Yeah.
going to be learning. So thanks very much, Payman. I shall
You're amazing.
say
Thank you. Take care.
it's good to have you.
Holy smoke, that went over an hour. Hope it wasn't boring.